In occupied Palestine, I'm Kristen S. Saturday marked the International Day of Solidarity with the Gaza Strip, under devastating siege by the Israeli occupation government for months. The Popular Committee Against the Siege, PCAS, declared the 23rd of February as the Global Day of Actions to End the Inhumane Siege imposed on 1.5 million Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. Ahmed El-Hajj has been working on this international time of action for months via the internet. The Europeans have been clear in their support of the Palestinian people regarding the Israeli actions against the Gaza Strip. Israeli forces killed 4 more Palestinians in the Strip in 2 days and attacked demonstrators throughout the West Bank, including East Jerusalem, who were demonstrating against the wall and settlements. Journalist Mohammed Khalid reports on the anti-siege activities in the Gaza Strip. At 8 o'clock, the lights went out for 5 minutes in solidarity with the people of the Strip. And in later days, 50,000 citizens and Palestinian children are standing together in a human chain at the boundary lines from the very south of the Gaza Strip in Rafah to Beit Hanun in the very north. 30 countries across Europe, Asia, Africa, and the 2 Americas took part in the protest actions that continue throughout the week. In addition to multiple actions, including a sit-in at East Jerusalem's Church of the Holy Sepulchre on Saturday night, the lights went out in solidarity with the people of Gaza. Dr. Jamal Khoudary, an independent from the Palestinian Legislative Council, is in the midst of the Gaza demonstration. The truth of this on this day for the Palestinian people is that this is a day of solidarity and protest by the Palestinians, the Arabs, the Islamists, and the world. There's a sit-in for the people. There are demonstrations. This is the day for the Palestinian people against the siege on the Gaza Strip. Today in the Strip, the people are protesting what is happening to them. This is not just here, but this is an international day of protest against the huge current problems. There are 90 cities in the world participating. There are actions and demonstrations taking place throughout. There are strikes for our people, sit-ins, protests. This is throughout the world against the siege. People are rising up in support of international law that must be protecting the people. But today, there is also a strike throughout the districts of Gaza who are joined by people throughout the world. It is also against the cut in electricity for the people of Gaza and for the people that have been killed by Israeli forces throughout our villages and towns. And we are sending a message to protect our security. And of course, the world is with us today to cut the siege that we are living under in Gaza. And at night, everyone is cutting their electricity along with us at the same time in solidarity, even just for 5 minutes, in solidarity with the people of Gaza. And in Gaza, there are more than 50,000 citizens and Palestinian children creating a human chain from Rafah to Beit Hanun. It is in protest of the Israeli strategy of violence against the Palestinians, the Arabs, and the Muslims. And at the Rafah crossing, there are protests because this border must be opened for the people, and the West Bank is joining this to keep continuity. This is our point, to struggle for our people. For this day, this moment, the world is joining us to fight against what is happening to our people. More than 30 countries are participating: France, the UK, Greece, Italy, the Netherlands, Germany, Sweden, Switzerland, Denmark, Spain, Canada, the United States, Russia, Romania, Scotland, Ireland, the Ukraine, Bulgaria, Morocco, Mauritania, South Africa, Algeria, Libya, Turkey, Norway, the Sudan, Egypt, Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, Lebanon, Syria, and Egypt, and including throughout the West Bank, East Jerusalem, the Gaza Strip, and Palestinian cities within Israeli boundaries. 50,000 people formed a human chain around the Strip's boundaries, hemmed in at 1.5 million, against the Israeli siege. The Israeli government placed all onus for the outcome of the demonstration, if the results were negative, on Hamas, as if the occupied were responsible for the occupation and that the resistance in any form is somehow illegal, which it is, of course, not under international law. Even Israeli government-approved journalists are not allowed through the borders now, as they are entirely closed. This directive comes from the Israeli foreign and defense ministers. The Israelis expect that demonstrators will break through the fences and the walls. Journalist Mohammed Khalid adds,
عم اليوم إضراب تجاري شامل في كافة مناطق قطاع غزة وأغلقت المحلات.
Today there is also a general strike in the Gaza Strip against the siege imposed on the Palestinian people, and the international community is joining in demonstrating against the actions undertaken by the Israelis in the Strip.
الكثير منهم بيوتهم كرسالة احتجاج إلى العالم وجهها تجار القطاع.
Sources in Rafah, who will not go on the air to save their lives, also tell me that there is plenty of medicine and food to be found, but that is only available if you are in the fold of the traders, otherwise known as the mafia, who bring goods into the Strip through the Rafah tunnels. One source says plainly there are two mafias. Well, really, they just behave as a mafia would. There is the Egyptian mafia, and there is Hamas. The medicine is here, but not unless you have the money to pay an exorbitant amount. He also told me that he spoke with sources in the Egyptian government to push for the release of medical patients. Already 100 have died awaiting Israeli permission to leave the Strip for outside care. The Egyptian response was, "We are studying this case." It does not seem in the interest of anyone who wishes to remain in control or to take control that the borders be open. Egypt doesn't want it, nor does Hamas, the United States, Israel, the Palestinian Authority, or the traders. Dr. Iyad Asharouj from the Committee Against the Siege on Gaza talks about the people rising up. After a call to protest the siege throughout the world, there are demonstrations in Gaza, at Erez checkpoint, in Ramallah, in London, in New York, in California, in Brussels, Paris, Rome, and Madrid. This is a worldwide day against the Israeli siege. In London, they are thinking about what is happening in Gaza. This specific day was called for the 23rd, and that is today, because of the truth of what is happening from the Israelis. The decision to try to make peace with the Israelis is met with untruths, and this is the day to shed light on this fact, about what is seriously happening in Gaza, and the world is joining in to protest and stand in solidarity with the plight of the Palestinian people. This is one of the most difficult times faced by the people. This is also about the attacks on the West Bank, where everyone is under siege, and throughout the world, and for the journalists writing in the world about what is really happening here, and that we are trying for peace, despite the Americans, on the path of Greece. It was a big deal that the European Parliament, 40 major players amongst them, decided to stand with the Palestinian people about what is happening in the Gaza Strip. This is one day, and it is about what is happening against the human beings and the Palestinians. And if God wills it, the atrocities being committed against the Palestinian people will come to an end, and the Palestinian people will finally achieve their rights and their goals, their wishes, if God wills it. The people are those who suffer, those who are being traded upon for political gain. And the people are those who resist occupation and oppression by surviving yet another day in hell. As Mahmoud Darwish wrote in State of Siege, "Here on the slopes before sunset and at the gunmouth of time, near orchards deprived of their shadows, we do what prisoners do, what the unemployed do, we nurture hope. A country on the verge of dawn, we have become less intelligent because we stare at the hour of victory. There is no night in our night that shines with artillery. Our enemies stay up at night and light the darkness of cellars. Here, after Job's poetry, we waited for none. This siege will last until our enemies have been taught some of our Jahili poetry. Here, there is no I. Here, Adam remembers his clay." Reporting for Flashpoints from Occupied Palestine, I'm Kristen S.
And thank you, Kristen, for that very courageous report. You're listening to Flashpoints on Pacifica Radio. My name is Dennis Bernstein. We continue reporting on what is a very courageous action taken by thousands of Palestinians in forming a human chain along the wall that seals them in. Joining us to continue the